Y'all, I'm running late. I didn't even realize that. I had to have this cake up to the church by like 1 or 2. It's noon. I have to get my ass moving. Okay. So, what? What? You can't hear me? You can't hear me because the mixer's too loud? I know. But that's what you need for this cake. It has to beat a long time. Wait, let's fix that. This is boiled milk frosting. I also call it Ermine frosting. Now, if you don't know what kind of frosting this is, it's the real frosting from, or the original frosting from the 7-layer cake. Not, let me regroup. Boiled milk frosting is the original frosting on a red velvet. Before everybody started flipping it up and switching over to the cream cheese frosting. You know why? Because boiled milk frosting, aka Ermine frosting, is a pain in the ass to make. It takes forever. Literally. A long damn time. Probably an hour. You will mix it in your stand-up mixer, in your KitchenAid, for at least an hour. If you don't, you're going to get these little grains of sugar that cause a huge problem for you. But if you follow my directions, you can make this frosting easy squeezy, lemon peasy, and in a matter of just a few minutes. Here's what you do. Soften your butter ahead of time. That means when you get up in the morning to drink your coffee, take you a whole pound of butter out, because you need 2 cups of butter. 2 cups of butter is equal to 4 sticks of butter. Okay. The next thing you should do is, after you're drinking your coffee, after you're done drinking your coffee, or while you're making your coffee, or while you're drinking your coffee, make the roux. Get it done, because it's got to chill. Yes, this frosting has a roux. It's made with 2 cups of milk and 10 tablespoons, someone else can do the math, of flour. All-purpose flour. Now, in my little world, I don't use milk. I use half and half. And that's why if you eat a cake that has my boiled milk frosting on it, it tastes so creamy and dreamy and yummy, nummy, luscious. It's because I used half and half and real butter. And sometimes I get a wild hair up my ass and I'll use whipping cream. So, if you're on a diet, don't eat my damn cakes. Especially one with this frosting on it. Because it's going to pack on the pounds. Alright, so make those 2 things ahead of time. Get them done. Then the next morning, after you bake your cakes and you let those chill out, you can throw your frosting together. But you're still going to have to whip it a really long time to get those little grains of sugar out. Unless you follow this sneaky little tip I have for you. And don't tell your grandma, because she'll tell you ain't doing it right. Put the sugar into your milk and flour and whip it that way. Make your roux with the sugar in it. That's right. Don't tell anyone I told you that secret. Take 2 cups of flour, No. Take 2 cups of sugar, regular sweet tea sugar, and dissolve it in 2 cups of milk and stir in 10 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Cook it on low. If you're using my recipe, you're going to use half and half. Cook it on low. Use a whisk. Get all the lumps out. Then let it come up to a boil. It'll get really thick, and you'll be like, "It's not boiling, Kadee." Okay, well, it's fixing to. Let it boil for a minute or 2 to make sure that all the flour is cooked, because you don't want that uncooked flour flavor. Then pour it into a bowl. Put a lid on it so it doesn't get a film over the top of it. Stick it in the refrigerator and go about your business. The next day, you're ready to rock and roll. That's why it's only going to take you about 10 minutes to make this frosting when you actually start putting the components together, because your sugar's already dissolved. And then when people eat it, and especially old timers, they'll be eating it and they'll be like, "I can never make this frosting. Mine always comes out with grains of sugar in it." Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Don't you dare tell them how you did it. Let them believe it. Let them believe you just slaved over that stove and mixer, just mixing till all the grains of sugar were dissolved. Don't you dare tell them our secret. All right, but we need to put this cake together because I got to get to the church. This is a 7-layer cake. All right, 7 layers. And the reason I make this cake, it's my favorite, but I make it for funerals. It's my go-to funeral cake. I like to do it because 7-layer cakes take a long ass time. A long time. But you can use that time to reflect on the times you spent with that person that's passed. You can reminisce about the brevity of life. You can do all those things. But it shows the people who are getting the cake that you actually put some effort into it. You didn't just swing by the Walmart. You didn't just swing by the Walmart and grab some bundt cake that was already packaged and got a big old label on it. Nope. You're going to serve yours in this handy dandy cake container plate. That's right. And make sure you put your name on it. Put your name on it. And on the bottom. Let me show you. Put your name on the bottom so they know who to bring it back to. Don't send one that was your mama's that can't be replaced, because you might not get it back. Don't send one you're not willing to part with. Alright, but let's put this cake together. I like to put mine on a cake round as opposed to just putting it on here, because these are from the 70s, these little pressed tin ones, and that little gold stuff comes off. It's just the way it is. Okay, so let's do this cake. 7 layers. You bake 7 layers instead of trying to cut them. Bake them. So much easier, and they come out even. Now you need to stack them. So between each layer, of course, you're going to put this creamy frosting. Smooth it out a little bit. Get it all the way to the edges. Not too much flopping over the edges, please. Try to restrain yourself, folks. You can pipe it on if you feel the need. Okay, then you're going to get your next layer. I put mine on to these seal mats to cool just because it's easier for me to get them off. See, they come off nice and neat. Make sure you put it on there even. You don't want no tippy ass cake going to the funeral or anywhere else or church, because then you know everybody will talk about you saying you have tippy ass cakes. Yes, you will need to stick something in these, like some little wooden shish kebab thingies, just to make sure that it'll get to the church without tipping over, because that would really suck. Oh, so you see, I just noticed this, but you can see we're still in the construction phase of our kitchen. Because my husband works off. So when he comes home, we'll be back to the grind, getting the kitchen done, worked on. But for right now, it's just me and the kiddo. And we don't have a lot of construction capabilities. That's a good word. Capabilities. We're not good at it. So we don't do it. Now, if you baked any of your layers a little bit longer and they shrunk up more than the others, make sure you put those between two good layers. I'll show you what I mean, because I did it. I was out there planting garlic by my roses. Now you might say, Kadee, why would you do that? Well, because if you plant garlic or chives by your roses, it helps keep the aphids off of them. Then you don't have to spray as much shit on there. Okay, so I did that, and I forgot I had cake in the oven. Yeah, it happens a lot around here, especially when I have a lot of stuff going on. I tend to get a little bit dingy, more so. All right, so that's what happened. I just forgot about the cake. Now, it didn't burn. It didn't burn. But it's not going to be the moistest layer in it. See, it's smaller. I want to pick up one of the other ones because the other ones will break. But see, it's just smaller. So, it's probably 1/4 of an inch smaller in diameter than the rest of them. That's because I left it in there too damn long. Alright, so you got to make sure you put those in the middle of moist layers, because, you know, cakes will draw moisture in. Okay. And if you want, you can actually even put a little bit of extra frosting on that one. Getting close, folks. I don't know why my camera is doing that. I just don't understand it. See, I get distracted. Oh yeah. See, I didn't know y'all could see my ceiling. When Brant comes home, we're putting up new ceiling, so we're gonna finish that. That's gonna be the objective in May, is to work on the cabinets and the ceiling. We're gonna get that done while he's home this time. So, then all we'll have left is the flooring and the countertops. The counters. Finish the bottom counters. But we're just indecisive. I think we decided on to do like white marble, because, you know, I do love the look of white marble, so we're kind of wavering. We started out wanting to do concrete, but I don't know. I don't know what we're going to decide in the end. We'll see. We shall see. Alright, last layer. And this is why I like to put them on a seal mat after you bake it and while it's cooling, because look at how easy it comes off. Okay, now See, it's not even tippy. You got to back up and look at your cake. Make sure it doesn't look like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Then you got to stick them sticky things in it, which of course I didn't take out. Hang on. Okay. At the end of summer, when these things go on sale, get a bunch of them if you're into cakes. So, they're these little wooden shish kebab bamboo things. Okay, so you just put it up there and you figure out how tall you got to cut it. So it's not sticking up, cut it just a little bit shorter. And then cut them all the same length. And then this cake you can actually get 2 for the price of 1, which is a rarity. Usually I'll use my husband's plier things, like this wire cutter. It works out so much better. Okay, now make sure your cake is straight up and down before you stick these in there, because otherwise you ain't moving it. Okay? Then the next one, you just measure it and cut it, and then remember, cut it just a little bit lower than it is shorter. Okay. Now, I think you should at least put 5 in. That's like 4 on the round and then 1 in the middle. That's my belief. But you do what you want. Don't stick like 75 of them in there. That would not be good. But at least put 1 in the middle. And then put some around the sides. I'll put another one right here. Okay. Now, make sure your cake is level, because here's where you're going to do your final frost. This is not fancy. You don't have to pipe it. It's just old-timey. Don't play with this, or you'll get them red crumbs all up in your cake. And then you'll be mad. All up in your frosting, sorry. You'll be mad about it. So don't play with it. Just get it done. I was going to say something, but I don't know. This might be G-rated or something. Don't do that. Just don't play with it. Just get a move on. Okay. Start out with your knife and make sure it doesn't have any crumbs, cake crumbs on it. Because that's going to end up in your frosting. I mean, in your, yeah, which is on your cake. So you're going to start out, smooth it out, and then get a move on. Don't let it fall down. This is kind of like a naked cake. You're not going to have a lot of frosting on it. Be neat when you get to the bottom, because you don't have time to clean it up. Work it over the top and then start to smooth it out. You're trying to fill in all them little gaps between the layers. If you have it down the bottom, you got to be careful when you're working it, because you don't want that frosting all over your cake plate. Because this stuff, with all the butter and the cream in it, it's, you know, it's hard to clean up. You're just not going to wipe it off. It'll leave it like a smear, a greasy smear. Not that it tastes greasy or anything. I'm just saying. Now, if you don't like the look of naked cakes and you want to have a lot of fluffy frosting on there, double this recipe. Double the recipe I gave you. Otherwise, you're going to have the naked cake look, which I like and is very popular nowadays, especially on Pinterest. You can just tell somebody that you seen it on Pinterest and made it. And the Milk Bar, they're really popular right now. They have a lot of cakes like this. But they usually wrap theirs. They'll have like this cellophane, some kind of, it's like a really thin plastic sheet that they fold around their cakes to hold all the frosting in. And their layers together. But they put like cereal and stuff like that in between their layers. But this is a funeral, folks. So people don't want no damn cake with cereal in it. Not for a funeral anyway. Not unless he was a comedian. Not unless the guy who died was a comedian. Then maybe it'd be okay. But I think you could think of something funnier than cereal to send in your cake. Okay, now see if it starts to get lopsided. You're going to have to push it back over. Like that. See? Okay. Now just smooth it out. If you get too much frosting on your knife, take it and run it on the inside of your bowl. Because that's why you can use this extra that you just wiped off to fill in any little gaps that you see. And it smooths out the cake. Okay. Then rotate your cake and do the other side. Just to smooth out the top. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is like one of them old-timey ones. Wait a minute, there's a gap right there. See. Okay. Now, clean off your knife. And then you're going to start to rotate your cake plate or whatever it is. Walk around it so that you can level it out, smooth it out. Just trying to get it all smoothed out. Fill in the gaps that are between the layers. And remember, this version is a naked cake version, so you're going to see the layers. If you don't want to use the naked cake version and see the layers between it, then you need to make a double recipe. I personally would make 2 batches. I would not try to do thicken 4 cups of heavy cream at one time because it'll get lumpy on you. I just wouldn't take that chance. But some of y'all are braver than I am, so you do what you want to do. Just make sure that all the gaps between the layers are filled in. Make sure after they're done, filled in, that you get on that cake and you're going to push it level. Even. Make it even. And then lightly come back and fill in the gaps. And spin it. That's on my wish list. Yes, I know I should have a table turner, spinner thinger. It's on my wish list. So if any of my kids want to get me something for Mother's Day, hint, hint, it costs about 20 bucks. Or you could get one from the Hobby Lobby using your 48% off coupon. Or half off if you get it on a day when they're on sale. Okay. So now I tend to leave mine like this. I'm going to stop. Is it perfect? No, because it's called a naked cake. You're supposed to be able to see that stuff. If you don't want it like that, also, the reason you do this is so everybody can see your layers and they know that you made 7 freaking layers. So, there you go. Got any extra and you want to put it on top or pipe it on? Well, you do you, boo. Alright, but I gotta get my ass moving because I got to get this stuff to the church. I ain't got time to be fooling with you folks no more. I'll holler at you later. Bye.